You want to do the honors?
No, you go ahead. I need to take it in from here.
I was hoping you'd say that, okay?
Oh my God. I feel like I lived under a rock because I hadn't heard of Colleen Hoover before they came to me with this movie. But the person that I was in the car with, Eden, when the gentleman I work with, Warren, called me and said, hey, you know, they're interested in you playing this character. Do you know Colleen Hoover and her books? And Eden shrieked. She's 25 years old. And I thought, oh, that's so interesting that a 25-year-old who has access to every bit of information possible, everything you get on social media apps, all the streaming, all the optionality, you know, here's this name of this writer that cut through. That was interesting to me because, like, you know, in older generations, you know, everybody was listening to the same radio shows, you know, watching the same 30 channels. So now when the whole world is open to you, for a name to cut through like that to a younger generation really made me perk up. And then when he said the name of the book, she's like shrieked. And I was like, are you a fan of this book? She was like, I read her other books. I don't know that book, but that is the book that all of my friends are obsessed with. Everyone knows that. So she hadn't even read the book, but she shrieked when she heard the name.
I love Colleen. We got on immediately, and we had some fun times. Yeah, she's such a special person. She's really, she's kind of got this like really dry, somewhat like admittedly dark sense of humor, and she's just such like a sensitive person. Obviously, basically, she wrote this book, and you know, I just give her so much. I just admired her so much for putting herself out there, and you know, putting something like this out there that's so personal to you and is you know, based on elements of your personal life, and like throwing it out into the world and then hoping that people receive it, and yeah, it was great to have her there, and you know, like, is this kind of what you're thinking, you know? She's like, yes. I'm like, all right, cool. Lily Bloom.
Atlas. You look so well. I don't want to get you in trouble or anything.
Hey, well, how do I find you?
If
I wanted to find you.
I mean, I opened my flower shop.
He is a arbiter or a mirror for her. You know, he's ultimately there is to reflect to her how strong she is, and her capacity to love herself, and to remind her who she is, and how special she is, and how badass she is. I think that's what he's there for.
May I just ask, what is this place going to be?
A flower shop. It's tricky. Like, I'm a diehard. When I read a book, I want the movie to be exactly what the book is. But I also, my own imagination is always going to be different than, you know, what someone else could intuit my imagination might be. And then sometimes I forget what was in my own imagination versus what's in a movie because they start to blend together. But I think that what matters most to me as a fan is that the essence and the spirit of the people that I fell in love with are the people. Like, if the wall is green and lily blooms, but our wall is purple, it doesn't really matter. Like, if I'm a book reader, it's that the people I fell in love with, that the stories I fell in love with, that the journeys I fell in love with, that grabbed my heart and soul end up on screen. And I really think that they do, and I think that even if it's not in the way that maybe in your imagination when you read the book, it may be exactly, but even if it isn't, I think the journey that ends up on screen is really beautiful. And so I think that this movie will lead a lot of non-readers to the book, and I think that readers who see this movie, I think will appreciate it. I think that they both work on their own as two separate pieces of art, but overlaying them, I think it's special. And I think that that's because Colleen was a very important part of this. You know, once the movie was made and it came time to, you know, editing it and making sure that the finished product was felt like it honored her story that she wrote, and it honored the fans. She was very protective of the fans and their experience, and capturing the heart and soul and the essence and even details were really important to her. So she really had an advocate for the fans really had an advocate for them in Colleen in the post-production process.